SRX crowns a new champion. Harvick and Keselowski make it into the playoffs on points, and your local racing report. All that and more on the Flag to Flag podcast.
Welcome to episode 3 of the Flag to Flag podcast with your host, John DeRugeris, the motorsport enthusiast, and my other lovely host, Mr. Chad Barker. How are you doing, good sir? What's that hat? What's the logo on the hat?
Okay, so I'm doing good. I'm back in Ohio, back at school, back at college. If you need to go, my roommate needs to head back to class real quick. So but this hat is a Corsair, ladies and gentlemen, Formula V driver Jack Herberger. But this hat, it's a Corsair detail in Franklin, Tennessee. They've got a few more locations. When I was racing, they were my first sponsors, and it's just it's the hat it's their logo for the hat.
There you go.
Yeah,
nice.
But we had not gonna lie, we had a pretty mellow weekend, for racing.
Not much going on.
We had IndyCar, NASCAR trucks, and Formula One still off. Then we have SRX wrapping up their series at Lucas Oil, and then we had a lot of action, however, at Watkins Glen. But we'll get into that later. But we've also got kind of non-racing news, if that makes any sense. So yeah, the big thing coming from IndyCar right now is the reason I kind of put this into our notes because I was thinking, I saw this thing that said NASCAR is moving away from Motorsports Games as a developer, and that got me thinking, where the hell is the IndyCar game? And because I hadn't paid any attention to it, and turns out it had actually gotten pushed back to 2024 to next year, and I've had a little experience. I've had a little experience with Motorsports Games and the games they produced, and it's
bad. It's bad. It's not good. No way to sugarcoat it. It is awful.
It is. And awful. So I'm gonna be honest. I don't have high expectations for the IndyCar game. I'm definitely gonna if I feel like it, I'm definitely gonna purchase it. I definitely want to at least try it. I'm at least gonna give it a try because who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it could be good. The one thing that I know about Motorsport Games is that they've always presented a good product. It looks good, but it just always seems to either bug out, or the experience of the game isn't good enough, or the online is just so bad. It's just, the presentation's always great. I mean, they do a good job of I think they laser scan the cars. I have to double check that, but I know they get their cars looking really, really realistic. But from a damage model, that was never there. From a physics perspective, it hasn't really been there. So hopefully, it looks good. I've seen some of the graphics and some of the detail work with what they've gone on with scans. It looks okay, but until I hear what you have to say about it, I'm not going to spend my money on a game that I may pick up, play once, and then never touch again. So,
and I don't blame you. I was the exact same way with NASCAR 21 Ignition. I picked it up I think I bought it on Christmas. I bought it on Christmas, and I tried it once. Haven't touched it since, it's just not an enjoyable game.
Nope.
NASCAR Ignition was an enjoyable game. The mechanics of the game were really hard. It was very twitchy. It was very weird, in my opinion. Then again, I feel like you and me have been spoiled with iRacing. iRacing has a beautiful product, as well as Assetto Corsa. There's other things out there which, Motorsports Games might be feeling the pressure from, all right? They've got to compete. Okay, because let's be honest, most of NASCAR's gaming community is on iRacing.
Yeah, it is now. Yeah. It is now. Before it wasn't. Yeah. I would say when EA Sports was making their games, by the way, if EA Sports ever came back, it would be like NASCAR's community of when NCAA football comes back. But it hasn't been the same since EA Sports came pulled out of their deal.
Yeah, and and it's, I really wish EA Sports would come back, but I really don't know, because they pulled out when NASCAR started to have that decline, and in some ways, I feel like we're either at the bottom of that crest or we're starting to head back up. I hope so because I mean, say what you want, a lot of the next gen car off NASCAR got a lot of grief, but
It's been great.
It's produced some beautiful racing. Yes, it's had its flaws. All right, they've had to make some tweaks. They had to make some changes. But I mean, that's racing. You build, and that's product manufacturing in general. You make a product. You realize that you could have done something better here. You could have done something different here. You change it, and then like next year, I mean, we see it all the year with the Apple iPhone. Some years feel like it's a good product. Send out the same phone with like the iPhone 14, so it's going to be the exact same thing with a bigger price number.
Exactly. So we'll see. We'll see how the product shows up because I'm excited because they got a competition and the thing is really there's no motorsport game on console that is able to battle the largest one of the largest gaming franchises, which is Gran Turismo. I mean, with their movie coming out, you're going to see people flooding to that game. That game's been around for 20 plus years. I mean, Motorsport Games needs a title to help them get a little bit of leverage, but is it going to be with IndyCar? I don't know. I mean, they're tapping into a very, very niche market.
Yeah, IndyCar obviously doesn't have the presence. IndyCar, the fans of IndyCar, I had this experience at Indianapolis for the 500 this year. I had this experience at the Music City Grand Prix. And it's the fans of IndyCar, they're very loyal to their drivers. They're very loyal to the sport because they also understand that it's a very niche community, okay? Mm-hmm. Compared to something like NASCAR, compared to something like Formula One, it is a much smaller crowd. And it's right. And that's, and there's a couple of different ways. You good? You're pretty, don't worry.
I'm fixing my headphones, man. It was a little uncomfortable. Fixing my headphones. And thank you for calling me pretty. That boosts my confidence.
You're welcome. All right. But yeah, I don't have high expectations. I might try it. If it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's not. I'm keeping my expectations low. I'm not getting them too high. But I'm keeping my expectations low because if I buy it and get disappointed, I won't be that disappointed, but if it lets me down, I won't be that. Or if I buy it and it's good, I'll feel great about it.
Exactly.
But honestly, I feel like there's no real motorsports game for Xbox. The big motorsports game is Forza.
Right.
For PlayStation, it's Gran Turismo, and for both, there's another game, F121.
Oh, 100%.
Or the F1 games, F1,
the F1 series, yeah.
Yes, because I really like that, there was a time where I played F121, or I played the F1 games, I'm pretty sure it was F121. I played that more than I watched Formula 1.
Wow, okay, well, I mean...
It was a fun game,
It's a good product.
It was very immersive, it was a fantastic product, and I feel like... I feel like... EA, we might see something they come over, but I would love to see Codemasters come over and work with NASCAR, but I'm pretty sure they might have an exclusive deal with... Yeah. It is bold, but they might have an exclusive deal with Formula 1. But yeah, the IndyCar game, I don't know. So far, it's not looking good. Motorsports Games, the True Motorsports Game Passion, has pushed back release, and we haven't seen anything. We've seen a few renderings, but we haven't seen any footage. We haven't seen any gameplay footage.
There's a little out there. There's a little out there.
There is.
If you look at it, there's a little out there. Yeah, if you look it up, there's. I saw some before we hopped on. It looks like an interesting product. If you go to the official,
so did NASCAR 21 Ignition
X. If you go to the official X profile, which is Twitter, they have some footage from the game itself.
Really?
It looks like. I think it should. It's the IndyCar Pro Challenge from the IndyCar game. So we'll see.
But even then, we still haven't heard much about what we're getting.
Exactly, and I don't think we will. That's Motorsports Games MO. That's what they've stuck with for a long time. They've delayed products. They've pushed things back, and that's just what we kind of expect with that franchise, unfortunately. But hopefully we'll get something soon and have another specifically niche racing market game on out here in the public, because the move. Go ahead.
Who's so I know IndyCar, their contract with iRacing got up, and that's why we didn't have a lot of the big IndyCar stuff happening this year on iRacing, like the 500 or anything like that. And even people who broadcast IndyCar racing stuff on Twitch or any other live streaming platform, they can't use the IndyCar logo or anything like that. So I'm just curious on where they went to. That I don't think they went to Assetto Corsa, or did they go to Motorsports Games because they figured that this game was going to be coming out?
I think that's probably where they went, to try to reach console gamers, which there's a lot out there. But the big pool is like everybody knows what the Indy 500 is. Do you want to run in the Indy 500 in a game? That is probably one of the most sought after races in the world, obviously, from I think a gaming perspective. So I think they just went and tried to go the console route to try to get a younger fan base involved outside of iRacing, because iRacing is definitely an older crowd. But even with that, though, we have some other series that have one-off games. One of those specifically is SRX. They have a game that is out, and let's talk about that really quick. What happened this past weekend? It was a season finale for SRX at Lucas Oil. Walk us through what happened.
So at the end of Heat 1, just like we predicted, Ryan Newman locked up the championship. So congratulations to him, and that's pretty interesting. 3 SRX seasons we've had now. We've had 3 different champions. Tony Stewart in 21, Marco Andretti in 22, and now Ryan Newman in 23. Jonathan Davenport, he turned a lot of heads at this event, because outside of the Bristol dirt race this year earlier in NASCAR, we hadn't seen much of him. He was more or less a local dirt track kind of guy, who probably had some big dirt track money, and probably helped him to get the SRX ride. You never really know. He could have been seen by Tony Stewart, but it was very fun to watch Jonathan Davenport. It was very interesting to see the way him race, and it was a great race, especially there at the very end. Clint Boyer almost had a shot at it.
I was telling you, Clint Boyer could possibly get it done.
You did say that.
If Davenport, let's just say, if Davenport wasn't in the race, Boyer would have ran away with that one. I think Boyer was definitely the second fastest car, but like you said, Davenport, with his dirt experience, with his resume, I saw him as not a shoo-in to win, but if Boyer wasn't going to win, I thought Davenport could probably get it done.
Yeah, and I agree. It could have been that way, but it honestly felt like Davenport. Obviously he has more. I don't know what kind of motorsports Clint Boyer's been doing, but I feel like he has more. Davenport has more recent dirt racing on the mind, so he's very fresh in that aspect, and that's probably what beat him. He probably got beat on. Clint Boyer probably just got beat because Davenport had the better car and he was the better driver that day. But yeah, let's look into the future. This episode we're gonna be looking into the future a lot. We're gonna be looking into the future a lot with 2024. So SRX, they finished their 6-week season, and so for the 2024 season and the 2024 grid, I feel like I don't know if we'll see Hailie Deegan come back, but I feel like we will see someone like Bobby Labonte, obviously Tony Stewart. We'll see them come back. Paul Tracy. Will he be coming back? That'll be a big question.
I think he will. I think there's a lot of people who want to see him back at SRX. Oh, yeah. We do have the 2024 dates for the calendar, so it's going to be July 11th, 18th, and 25th, and August 1st, 8th, and 15th. All on ESPN, back with Thursday Night Thunder. And when we talk about driver lineup, will we see Castro Neves be, I think, almost full-time? I think he was full-time in the SRX series. I don't know, because he's moving from a... He's moving from a driver to an owner. Yeah. So I don't know if he may have more free time on his hand to do this kind of racing. I think we're going to see a wider variety of drivers, maybe even some older drivers that are interested in getting back on the dirt. We saw Kenny Wallace. He still races, obviously, but he raced in the Cup Series many years ago. We could see some ex-NASCAR drivers possibly make the lineup. I would love to see a Jimmy Johnson out there, see what he's able to do. I would love to see Dale Jr. join the field. I think that'd be a big draw, but I think we're going to see more ex-NASCAR drivers mixed with a little bit of a sprinkle of maybe some new ones, but nothing confirmed as of yet. All coming here in the future. So who do you think? If you had to pick one guy to race in the SRX series next year, whether a one-off or full-time, who would it be?
Me.
Well, obviously, I would love to be in the SRX series because you have fixed setups. It's basically like an iRacing race. You have fixed setups and you run. You have some heats. You win some, you lose some.
It's all for bragging rights. It's all bragging rights.
It is. Well, and some money.
I would love
some
to,
money.
And I don't think he would do it, but I would love to see Jeff Gordon strap back in.
I wasn't gonna say it because I didn't want to be a homer, but he obviously started.
You're wearing the shirt. You can't see. Don't want to be a homer and wear the shirt.
That's why I said Jimmy Johnson. Chill, but yes, I would love to see Gordon. He has
Dale Jr.
Dale Jr. would be a good one. Yeah,
that name alone would sell out a racetrack.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean that would have probably the most watched SRX race in history, I would imagine, if they brought Dale Jr. in. So,
but I would also like to see them branch out to other forms of motorsports as well, like they did with NHRA. How would you like to see John Force out there with them? That would be insane.
That'd be wild. Or maybe a Formula One driver.
The only people I can really see doing that is maybe Daniel Ricciardo. He's like the only one I can see who would want to do that, and plus, and it is during the summer break, a portion of the series is during the summer break. And so, it's not impossible. However, with someone like Helio Castroneves and Tony Kanaan, who were swapping places with the black car this year, yes, they're from Brazil, but, both their teams are based here in the United States.
Exactly.
And so they probably have houses here in the United States where, Daniel Ricciardo, his team, I'm pretty sure is based in England. I'm not 100% sure where AlphaTauri is based, but it would be a lot harder. And I don't know. Daniel Ricciardo is the only one I can see who would come over and do it.
Yeah, because he has an interest. Yeah,
maybe Fernando Alonso as kind of a fun runoff race.
Maybe.
Yeah, but going back to Paul Tracy, I feel like SRX needs to bring him back.
Yeah,
right. That he is Mr. Excitement in IndyCar, or not IndyCar, SRX. He is Mr. Excitement in SRX. Like, I remember when I went to the SRX race in Nashville. In 21, I was so excited to see him race, because I knew he was on his way to becoming racing's new bad guy. All right. And I'll tell you right now, he lived it up and he loved it, just like kind of like what we're seeing Denny Hamlin doing right now. Kyle Busch has gone to RCR. I've seen a lot less Kyle Busch hate since he's gone to RCR.
Oh, 100%.
And a lot more, negativity, I should say, going towards Denny Hamlin. But then again, there's many different opinions going on with that. But here's the thing. Both Paul Tracy, Kyle Busch did this as well, and I feel like Denny Hamlin is doing this as well. Kyle Busch was NASCAR's bad guy. In some ways, he still might kind of be, but he rode on that. He used that.
Yep, he did.
To build, to build some momentum. And I've met the man in real life on a number of occasions. Huntsville Quarter Midget Track for the Turkey Gobbler, Citrus County Speedway in Florida for Winter Nationals, and he is a nice person. There's a few things on track I might not agree with, some things he says in the heat of the moment that I don't agree with, but as a driver, I do respect him, and as a person, I respect him. But he's one of those guys where I feel like, if he gets a little hot under the collar, he'll say some stuff. But I feel like Denny Hamlin needs to ride that wave.
Bingo.
And not just Paul Tracy, SRX needs to ride that wave.
Yep.
All right? Because we've seen this in years past. Yes, this is for bragging rights. These guys are out here having fun, but they're treating this like it's a championship race. All right, we saw in 2021 Tony Stewart almost beat up Francis Jr. I forget his first name, but Ernie Francis Jr. He almost beat up. This is a fun. Listen, the series owner, owner was doing that, and that's when I knew that these guys were taking it just as seriously as they do in the Cup Series, in NHRA, in the IndyCar Series, in Indy Next, and it's very, very exciting to see that. So I feel like if they take Paul Tracy out, it's not going to hurt anything, but if they keep him in, it'll help.
It can only help.
It won't hurt. Yeah. But it'll help.
Yeah,
all right. I feel like if they don't, it won't do anything. But yeah. That's really what we got for SRX. Oh wait, next year's schedule. Please. National Fairgrounds. Please. Fairgrounds.
They should. I mean, with as much talk that there has been about the track and restoring it, I think it's a good place to showcase a race where it could prove that the track should stay around. So I would love to see it. That's my track that I hope they bring back, or hope bring back to the calendar. Yeah. Yeah,
and that would be the perfect race for Dale Earnhardt Jr. to come to.
Bingo.
Because Dale Earnhardt Jr. has been a huge ambassador and a huge supporter for the National Fairgrounds Speedway.
Bingo.
And that would be a perfect race. It would get a lot of people there, and it was, I'm pretty sure they said it was the first sold out crowd since the last time NASCAR was there when they were there in 2001. And so it was insane, Obviously, you had the names like Bill Elliott, Chase Elliott, Tony Stewart, Haley Deegan. You had a few names helping them out as well. Another thing I really think they should do is bring back the local hero.
Oh yeah, I remember.
The person from the local show track. That was really cool. Now they might have stopped doing that for a number of different reasons, but I really want them to go to, and I guess this is more or less at the discretion of the track promoter. But the race before the SRX race, whoever finishes the highest in that race gets the open SRX seat.
Yeah.
They did that at Stafford in 2021. But at Nashville in 2021, they did a fan vote. And I voted for Dylan Feccio because I've known him since I started racing quarter midgets in 2016. I've known him since I was racing in I've known him all throughout my legend cars, and he's been super nice, super chill. I've been cheering on for him. And I wanted him to win it, but Cole Williams ended up getting it, and that made a lot of people upset because Dylan Feccio is from Nashville.
Right.
Cole Williams I'm pretty sure he's not even from Tennessee. I want to say he's from Georgia, but I'm not 100% sure. So that could bring back, because that would bring more of a local aspect to it.
Oh, 100%.
I still feel like we need more diversity in the calendar, however.
Yeah.
I was talking to our friend John. We know him as Gertie. Our short, bald, shoeless friend. We love you, Gertie.
Well, what a weird description, but it matches him perfectly.
That is perfectly him. But I was telling him, about what I thought the SRX schedule should be. 2 oval, 2 pavement oval, 2 dirt ovals, 2 road courses, and he said that still favors the oval track team people very well because most of those guys had their roots at dirt tracks, and now they're racing asphalt tracks. And so, it's still, the road course guys are still outnumbered 42.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to come up with something. I feel like, all right. I have a project for you for next episode. Come up with what you think would be the perfect SRX schedule.
Okay. Got it.
Next year. I've got a few ideas. Some, I don't even know if they would work, but yeah.
We could do that.
Yeah. But since SRX is over, we need something to fill this segment. So, this is where you guys, the viewers, come in. Email flagtoflag10@gmail.com with a suggestion on what you want this segment to be filled by. For the time being, it's going to be filled by, it's going to be kind of a rotating series with a bunch of big events, and that's going to branch out anywhere from Formula Drift, NHRA, World of Outlaws, and even some of your local short track stuff, Southern Super Series, ASA Stars Tour, CRA. So we're doing a lot of research on that right now, but if you guys would like to hear a series that you're very passionate about, I heard a friend, like I said earlier, Formula Drift, because there is no content on that, and I feel like we're probably, I'm thinking about it, but we might cover that next week. But But yeah, whatever you guys want to fill this segment, let us know. We'll do our best.
We'll do it. All right.
Moving on to Formula One, and nothing's really changed since the last time we talked about Formula One. Nothing being released about the 2024 grid. All the driver contracts in 23 are, that we don't know if they're staying or leaving. It's really...
It's pretty much the same.
It's pretty much the same.
Yep.
Verstappen, Perez, Hamilton, Leclerc, Russell, and Sainz are the only people eligible for the championship. Red Bull, Mercedes, Aston Martin, eligible. Yeah, mathematically have a chance. They mathematically have a chance. Yes. Yes. But let's go into Sunday's predictions. Okay. I have an idea. All right. On the count of 3, we're gonna say who's winning. The last name of the person who's winning in Zandvoort. Okay. 3.
Who's gonna win? Okay. Who we want to? Okay.
Who we think is going to win? Not who we want to win. Who we think is going to win.
Okay.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Verstappen. Okay.
Yep.
Now
there we go.
Who? Let's say this. Who is the
fights on for second and third?
Okay. Well, I'll tell you right now. I think Mercedes is going to finish 2-3.
Really?
They had a great run last year in the Dutch Grand Prix, finishing 2nd and 4th with Russell and Hamilton. Leclerc finished 3rd, but I think that this could be a little bit of a momentum shift for Mercedes when it comes to what they're doing with just their overall program. They need something to bounce back, and last year they were pretty strong in the race. Looking at the full results, you had obviously Verstappen winning, and then you had Russell in 2nd, Leclerc in 3rd. I have a piece of hair on my head. I don't know what's going on. I see it in my peripheral. Leclerc in 3rd, Hamilton in 4th, and Perez in 5th. So Norris finished in 7th. An okay run for him. We had a couple DNFs. But I think this could be a good weekend for Mercedes with both drivers coming off the summer break. So if I had to have an upset pick, I would throw those guys in. And maybe a sprinkle of Ferrari. They may have something going with, I would guess, Leclerc. But if I had to pick the winner, obviously it would be Verstappen. But I would expect something out of Mercedes. I mean, just something to leap them ahead of all the other manufacturers and finish 2-3. So that's my prediction. It's going to be Verstappen, Hamilton, Russell. Those are my top 3. That's a podium.
Okay.
I just need to ask TikTok again, because TikTok got it almost entirely right for the Cup Series.
I wasn't going to mention it until we got to the Cup Series.
We'll talk about that later. We'll talk about it. But they know the script. They know the script. And I'm gonna keep on riding that script. I'm gonna do it this week at Daytona, and they're gonna pull some shit like, it's gonna be Ty Dillon winning the race, which he has the absolute longest odds to win at Daytona. It's gonna be something wild like that. So
it's the Daytona race right before the playoffs. Anyone can win that race.
All 39, 40 cars, because there's multiple new entries. I mean, it's gonna be wild.
Yeah,
so, but Formula One though, I think that's all really Formula One wise.
Yeah, I feel like with 2nd and 3rd place,
I know.
we will see a good performance out of Mercedes. However, I do feel like McLaren is going to keep riding this wave of momentum that they've got, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a Red Bull 1-2 maybe, and then that 3rd place being a Mercedes or a McLaren.
I could see that. Yeah, McLaren is definitely going to be. They're closer to. If I had to rank everybody, it would be Red Bull in its own class, McLaren and Mercedes in class 2, and then I would even bump down the Aston Martins and the Ferraris down to 3 because they just haven't had the pace as of late. So
Aston Martin came out of the gate swinging this year. All right, we thought that there was a chance that Fernando Alonso was he? I want to say he's in his mid to late 50s. I want to say mid 50s.
Fernando Alonso is 42.
Oh,
way off.
I was way off there.
If he hears this, he's gonna be very sad.
That is old. For Formula One, that is old, and we were just like, that would be insane to see someone of his age and his experience compete for a championship towards the end of the year. But like we saw last year, Red Bull kind of just they found their groove and they've been staying in it ever since.
Exactly.
And people are, and I see people who are upset with Red Bull's dominance or what. Okay, you people weren't upset when Mercedes was on a title wave for 8 years straight.
Yeah.
All right. No team has ever won the Constructors' Championship 8 years in a row. So that within itself is very impressive and very fun to watch. But yeah, I feel like Mercedes needs a win to boost their confidence, but as of right now, from what I've been seeing so far this year, I'm leaning towards McLaren on getting that final podium spot. So it's going to be Red Bull 1-2. And basically, first and second place at the podium is going to be decided in qualifying. And then the fight's going to be on for third place.
Makes sense. I like that.
But yeah, we got Formula One back, which is good.
We do.
Yeah, but I think
and let's stick on Formula One for a second. If you haven't made a trip to your local Walmart yet, let me tell you something.
What are you grabbing? For those who aren't watching right now, John just scooted away and looked like he grabbed like 2 candy bars or something.
I was at Walmart this morning, not looking for Formula One cars. I was looking for NASCAR diecasts because I just like to see what they have. And I came across this guy. I came across this at Walmart. Yeah, it's a 143 scale, but it's a 2023 Charles Leclerc F1 Ferrari. And so I picked one of these up. They had a lot of Max Verstappen left, so good to see he's left on the shelf.
No, hold on, no. We're doing an unboxing.
I'm not unboxing this. No way.
Why?
I'm leaving it in the box. I don't want to break the seal.
That's an off-brand thing. You act like it's going to be worth something in a few years.
I'm not going to unbox it. I'm going to leave it in the box just because you said it.
Okay, well, I'm going to go to Walmart, and we'll do one. We'll do one next week, because I actually want to see,
Okay.
But that is good. NASCAR has a fantastic, I think they've got actually a deal with Hot Wheels to where they make toy cars, That gets a lot of the very young generation in liking the sport, and I feel like that's a market that we haven't seen IndyCar or Formula One capitalize on.
Yeah, but they have. I mean, those are available. I mean, it's in the same section with all the Hot Wheels. It's right below the NASCAR 164 scale.
Really?
So it's there. You have to look for it. But yeah, I saw Charles Leclerc, picked that up, favorite driver, and saw Max Verstappen on there. But that is all our Formula One news. I mean,
very short.
It was, but in one of the previous episodes, we had Formula One at Costco. Now Formula One's at Walmart. What are they gonna be in our like fast food chains next? Like, I don't know what's gonna happen.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we're gonna see just like we had the Travis Scott meal, we're gonna see the Max Verstappen victory meal at McDonald's. All right,
the Max Verstappen special. It's. I don't even know what it would be. What does he order? What does he eat? Does he eat food? Is he human?
With every Happy Meal, you get a mini sim racing setup.
Right. Oh, right.
Yes. All right. Or a broken DRS system. Let's. I guess. Wow, we're only 34 minutes into this, or we're not 34 minutes into this. We're about 30 minutes into it. We're already at our local racing report. So
let's do it.
This week, we are going to Adams County Speedway in Corning, Iowa. That is a very appropriate name for a city.
Got some corn.
In Iowa. They had 5 races this weekend with the compacts, the hobby stocks, the stock cars, the B-mods, and the modifieds. Here is your top 3 for each division. In the compacts, 3rd place, number 27, Tyler Hoover. 2nd place, number 15H, Tyler Housley. And in 1st place, number 12, John Berg. In the hobby stock division, 3rd place, number 17, Luke Ramsey. In 2nd place, number 5, Derek Myers. And 1st place, number 7, Adam Hensel. In the stock cars, 3rd place, number 50B, Brock Badger. In 2nd place, number 37D, Brad Derry. And in 1st place, the number 0, Tony Hardsteep. Oh, sorry. B-Mods in 3rd place, the 16A, Bryce Allen. 2nd place, 86J, Jared Weston. And the 1st place, A5, Austin Paul. Modifieds, 3rd place, the number 10J, Josh Cooper. 2nd place, 71 Jeff James. And in 1st place, the 38X of Brad Berggren. So yeah, if you would like your local racetrack to be shouted out on the Flag to Flag podcast, email flagtoflag10@gmail.com with your local racing with your local short track, or hit us up on any of our social media platforms, whether that be Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We're always taking suggestions.
We are. So let's move on to our last segment. Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
seems like we're getting through this quick. Yeah.
We'll draw this out a little bit. How about that?
Just a little bit. Oh, well, we got to talk about who won. We obviously got to talk about who won. I cannot go out of this episode without talking about who won the race.
I knew we would. Okay, before we get started with NASCAR, let's talk about what happened earlier in the race with TikTok. All right. I just want to read to everyone the text I got as soon as the NASCAR race was over from John. I won't say this word for word, but you'll get the idea. Here we go. Where is it? Let me see here. I was driving back to Ohio from Tennessee. I got this text message, and in all caps, I can tell the future. He sends me the TikTok from the Motorsports Enthusiast of him predicting the top 3. He got the winner right, but second and third place were flip-flopped. But that's still pretty... But that's still
I got the
crazy.
top 3. I got the top 3, and I was like... The thing is, if you watch the video, my reaction when I saw William Byron, I was like, oh, okay. We'll have him win. And then I saw, Christopher Bell and said, I'm like, okay, there you go. Denny Hamlin makes sense. But yeah, I mean, I just pulled up the NASCAR driver filter and was like, okay, I'm just going to shoot this one take. Let's see what happens. And no, I didn't shoot like 55 different takes just to get William Byron to win. I'm not
First take.
It was the first take. And I was like, all right, there's one.
I'll do it on the Flag to Flag podcast. I'll make a clip of me doing it.
Yeah, we both got to do it. And it literally, I mean, I saw it and I was like, wait a second. I feel like I've seen this before. And I looked back and there it was. William Byron won. And it had Bell and Hamlin flip-flops. It looks a little... I can tell the future. So
that made my day. I was in the car bored for most of the day, so that made my day. But let's look at what we got. So the NASCAR Youth Series once again made an appearance at Watkins Glen following the NASCAR schedule, and here they are from most wins to least wins throughout the weekend. Lincoln Smith picked up three wins on the weekend. Jax Whitner picked up 2 wins, as well as Case James picking up 2 wins. Gavin Gardner picking up 2 wins. Zeke Berganti picked up a win. Brody Gihalena picked up a win, and Keegan Weiss picked up a win. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I'll let you suffer that one. I'm not going to help you out at all, but I'm sorry, Brody, for the mispronunciation.
Bro, yeah, and I'm sorry, but look, Brody, I'm going to be at Charlotte. Tell me your name. But, Trucks had an off weekend after their first round of the playoffs. They go to the Milwaukee Mile.
Ooh, that's a good one.
A mile-long flat track.
Yeah.
And Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Fun fact, that is the oldest still operating racetrack in the United States.
Oh, interesting.
Do you want to know what the second oldest operating racetrack in the United States is?
Is it Nashville?
Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway.
Bingo. Called it.
Nashville Fairgrounds been there since 1904. It's got Indianapolis beat by 5 years. And I'm not 100% sure when Milwaukee opened up, but yeah, every time
before
I say
1904,
sure,
yeah.
Before 1904, yeah. Xfinity, Stage 1 and Stage 2, Ty Gibbs took. But the winner was Sam Mayer, picking up his second career win, as well as his second season.
What a wild finish.
Yeah, that was an interesting finish. I saw highlights of it there at the very end, and I was like, and
booted him right out of the way.
I mean, most people in road course racing don't really like that, but it's what it is. That's
it is what it
NASCAR.
is, exactly.
That's what NASCAR's been built off of. NASCAR's been built off that rubbing is racing. They've got bumpers, so they're gonna use the bumpers. All right,
exactly.
That's how it works. But going into NASCAR, I'm pretty sure it was close to, if not the shortest race in NASCAR history.
It was the shortest race in NASCAR history. Yeah, it was. And
I want to say it was like an hour and 21 minutes, maybe?
No, it was longer than that.
Oh.
I
want to say it was.
Longer than that. I'll give you the official timestamp. Yeah.
These races are usually 30 minutes, and we only have one caution, and like we said earlier, no stage breaks. Michael McDowell took stage 1. We had Hamlin and Byron starting on pole at the start of the race. Suarez spins, exiting the bus stop on lap 5. And that's definitely something he didn't want to happen, and a caution didn't come out, which he really could have needed, And it's weird. With some races, it feels like NASCAR is just so trigger happy with the caution, but with the yellow lights button, and it feels like other races they can't find the button.
Well, the thing is, road courses, they're trying to treat it as an actual road course. They don't want to have full course yellows unless there's a car that got stuck, which is what we have seen in the past. So yeah they're going to be pretty, relaxed with it. Pause. I have to pee so bad.
You better make a clip of this to put on the Instagram. You better make a clip of this.
I've been like, I could hold it for a little bit, but no, this is too much, man. It's too much.
All right, we'll be right back. Oh my Lord.
Okay, we are back here.
You didn't wash your hands.
What do you mean I didn't wash my hands?
I don't know. I'm being weird.
You can't hear me. So are we going to run this? Or is this going to be part of the podcast?
Yes. That little break, we'll cut it, but that is 100% staying in. That is too good.
All right. I'm back from my pee break here on the Flag to Flag podcast. So what were we talking about? Michael McDowell spinning or having some issues on pit road. Could have used a stage win, which he won stage 1, didn't he?
Yeah, we weren't that far along yet. We were talking about Suarez spinning and, the caution thing, which, I do understand. It is a lot harder for us to go all the way around the track, cars wasting fuel, because with these long races where there's only one caution in the entire race, strategy becomes huge.
We talked about this last week. Absolutely.
We did. And there was a lot of teams who needed to get that strategy call right. But there was one team that didn't get the strategy call right. That being Chase Elliott.
The driver who needed to win.
The driver who needed to win had his best possible chance of winning at this race. All right? We have not seen Chase Elliott perform well at a super speedway. All right? Neither have we really seen Alex Bowman. And we've only got one playoff spot left. After Watkins Glen, Harvick and Keselowski are locked in on points, which is really good to see, which makes it really exciting, which means we have 20-ish drivers going to be fighting for that one spot in the playoffs.
At Daytona.
At Daytona.
This is just
one of the 2 wild card races of the year. And it's going to be insane. At Daytona, it produces fantastic racing every single event. And I had a friend back when I worked at my job in downtown Nashville, and he got into sports betting and all that kind of stuff. And he decided he wanted to start betting on NASCAR, and he bet on the Talladega race. And I said, and he's calling me with he called me with 3 laps to go in the race. And he said, hey, the guy I'm betting on is leading the race. I said, take your bet off of him. Take your bet off. He goes, why? He goes, this is a super speedway race. If you're leading on that last lap, you're not going to be leading. There's a good chance you're not going to be leading coming when you come back around unless they all pile it up and turn on the backstretch or turn 1 and 2.
Bingo.
All right? And we love a good race back to the line. But it is going to be interesting. It's going to be... I would say, who is our pick? Do we want to go with an underdog? Do we want to go with a Corey LaJoie? Do we want to go with a Ty Dillon? Do we want to go with an Austin Dillon? All right.
Maybe I think Corey LaJoie or Justin Haley. I put my bets on those 2 drivers at every super speedway style track. They haven't produced, but they've been right there. I think this could be the race where Corey LaJoie is like, screw it. I'm going to the front. I don't care. We've seen Justin Haley go to the front in these kind of races. They need a win to make it in. And I think Justin Haley or Corey LaJoie could win. Now, could another driver win? Of course. I mean, you're looking at Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace has been decent on super speedways, he does have that one win. It was a rain-shortened win. I'm not going to give him full credit for that because it's not a full race. I'll give credit for him for the Kansas win. Totally different subject.
Yeah.
He's still good at super speedways. He's going to be up there battling with it. I think he's going to want to stay out front and be out front as long as possible to get as many points. But I think it's going to be very hectic. I think we may see one of the biggest wrecks in NASCAR happen this upcoming Saturday
really?
night. I mean,
it's a super speedway, so there's always the possibility of the big one. But with Bubba Wallace, I feel like we haven't been able to see him seal the deal. Once it gets down to that last run, after the last pit stops, where they're really duking it out, we always see something happen with Bubba.
Yeah, exactly.
And it is rough to see that. I feel like last year, Bubba, his team was in the playoffs. However, he himself was not in the playoffs. And this would be his first proper playoff appearance if he were to decide to win. But who knows? Like you said, it could be someone completely in left field. Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman could take the home to win, you know?
Well, no, Bubba Wallace was in the playoffs last year. He won last year. He won at Kansas.
Did?
Yeah.
He did? Oh, then what was I thinking about when he was running the 45?
Hold on. I got to fact check this really because I know he won a race last year.
Last year, I know Kurt Busch won a race last year. Kurt Busch, I think, was Kansas.
No, he had one win last year in 2022.
That is interesting, but I mean, they probably put him in the 45 car. I don't know, a number of different reasons, but yeah, going back to what I've been saying, it's very much, I don't know, it's a complete wildcard. It's one of those races where you don't know. All right, I mean, we could look here and we can go through every stat. We can build a computer program and then narrow it down to the mathematical, the statistical, the driver who is not
most likely to most likely win.
It's not going to matter. It's not going to matter. All right, you can do all that stuff. All of it's out the window when that green flag flies.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's gonna be. I'm super excited to watch it. It's gonna be a fantastic race. I don't know what I'm gonna do Thursday night. I'm gonna be sitting here twiddling my thumbs. Probably ain't got no SRX racing. But
you can get on iRacing.
Not iRacing. Well, you know, I'm not even getting into that. My iRacing setup's broken, but that's
sad. That's sad.
But yeah, yeah, and Daytona is gonna be nothing short of insane. You wanted to talk about it, so let's go ahead and talk about it. The winner of the race. Good. I can see the smile on your face. Go ahead. I'll let you take the rein on this.
Very easy win for William Byron there. Just not, dominating like the entire race basically. Starting in second, staying up front the entire time, beating out Denny Hamlin, one of the most impressive road course racers there are. No shame there. No.
That's his first road course win. Yeah,
it was. And all bias aside, it was impressive for that team because they haven't been able to seal the deal at road courses. He's been pretty bad at road courses. This is the first race where it was not.
I'm willing to bet that besides super speedways, beside road courses, every week that's, like I said, not a super speedway and not a road course, William Byron is a threat to win.
I would agree.
A big part of that is because they have arguably one of the best, if not the best, pit.
Their pit crew is incredible
in right now.
They have with the way that they have Rudy Fugle running the strategy point there as the crew chief, with the pure speed, then the positions gained on pit road, they're a threat, like you said, almost every week. And so with this win at Watkins Glen, this is like, okay, well, now is the 24 starting to become a threat at road courses because, he's been up front. He can be up front at super speedways, but 1.5 miles, short tracks. He's won at Martinsville. He's won in Atlanta. He's won kind of all across the board. So with throwing a road course win in, does that mean he's going to have a strong run at the Roval? That's a good possibility. I mean, he's won at a lot of different places, and the playoffs, it seems like there's a race where he could win at least one of them in every round. So is he the playoff favorite? I mean, with 5 wins, it's hard to say no. I'm taking all bias out of it, but he has 2 more wins than anybody else. He's typically terrible during the summer. He's been able to overcome that a little bit with this win. But I think he's, if not the favorite or the second favorite to win the championship right behind Martin Truex Jr., he is the absolute favorite to win just because of what he's done this season. So it was a good run. I was very excited.
Yeah. And numbers don't lie. He is the favorite to win. But once again, we have a few of those wild card races in there. Roval always throws a big mix into the wrench because you have to combine both that road course racing and intermediate oval track experience.
Exactly.
Talladega is always a big wrench into the mix. Bristol, what was it? Darlington. Darlington's always big. What was the other? Martinsville. So the playoffs is always good. It offers good competition, except for Texas. And I really do like it. Let me think here. I would say he is the favorite to win the playoff. He's got the most wins, and I feel like you said, there's a chance he could win at every single track. He won earlier this year at Phoenix.
He's won at Martinsville. He's won at Darlington. He won at Atlanta. So you're knocking 4 different tracks. And if you include a road course, that's all the style of tracks you got. You got a short track.
Intermediate.
You got the super speedway of Atlanta, technically. Yeah. I guess Darlington's a little bit of the wild card one because it's not a mile and a half. True mile and a half. So
let's look at the underdog going into the playoffs. Michael McDowell and Chris Buescher.
RFK will win at Bristol. Let me just say that if it's going to be with Brad K, if it's going to be with Chris Buescher, I think Brad K could win at Bristol. I'm just going to say that RFK has a great shot this playoff run because they're going to be strong at super speedways. So you have Talladega in there. They're going to be strong at short tracks. So you have Bristol in there. Is there another short track? Is Martinsville on the schedule on the playoffs?
Martinsville is on the schedule.
Yeah.
No, we've already been to Richmond twice.
We have. Yep, we've been to Richmond twice.
So yeah, it is very, very interesting to see how that's going. Darlington, always a fantastic race to watch at the beginning of the playoffs because everyone's nerves are fresh. They're all nervous. They're all everyone wants to get that first win. All right, you want to get that first win in the first round. That way you're comfortable. And look, because if you win that first round, if you win the first race of the 3 races in that round of the playoffs, you're not worried about the next 2 races.
Exactly.
You're already focusing to the round of 12 and the first race there.
Bingo.
That's what you're focused on.
Bingo.
And it's, and if you're in that middle race, all right, if you win that second race, you're not worried about next week. You need, but if you're in a position to have to win that 3rd race, and then if you win that 3rd race, you automatically, all right, we sucked last round, put us in a must-win situation to win in the third race of the first round. Let's go ahead and seal the deal early on here in the round of 12.
Right, exactly.
So,
yeah, it looks really good for Byron because he has a win at Darlington. That's race number 1. He has a win at Las Vegas. That's race number 7, and a win at Martinsville. That's race number 9. Before going to Phoenix for the championship, and could win there. He's won at 4 out of the 9 playoff tracks.
He has.
It's wild.
Yeah, let's talk about who do we think is going to fill that last playoff spot. I think we did talk about that, and I think we said it's going to be a wild card. What if we get a repeat winner? Denny Hamlin, he's a threat at Daytona.
Someone's going to spin him out. He's not going to win Daytona. Do you think everybody wants to see Denny Hamlin win at Daytona? No, nobody does. Maybe Bubba Wallace.
If it's a good race,
yeah,
and Denny Hamlin ends up winning, I'll be fine with that. All right.
Yeah, I think so.
Plus, it'll throw a wild card into who's going to be that last seat in the playoffs. But let's talk about some stuff. I am so mad. I forgot to mention this last week. I had written it down to mention it. I didn't even mention it. The Indy tire test at Indianapolis. So we had the race on Sunday, 2 Sundays ago at Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the road course. The very next day, Chase Briscoe, as well as other drivers, stayed in Indianapolis to take it on to do a tire test on the 2.5 mile rectangle track, and it was oval track, and that makes me so excited because it's one of those big crown jewel events. All right, we have the Daytona 500, we have the Southern 500, we have the Brickyard 400. You know, those are big name at Coca-Cola 600. Those are big name events. Those are the big races you want to win. All right, in NASCAR, right? And they took away the road course. They took away the 400 to try and get some, more people,
diversity.
Mix it up, diversity. Mix it up a little bit, and it just hasn't done it. I feel like if we bring the oval back, it will produce much better racing. And I think the guys on Door Bumper Clear said this, and I'm gonna echo them. Please, 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 do not have 2 road courses back to back next year. Do not. All right. Yeah. I would rather us have the exact same schedule we have this year, and the only thing change be the Indy road course swapped to the Indy to the oval. Yeah. And if that's the schedule for next year, I would be more than happy.
Oh my gosh, right?
Yeah. And it is very interesting to see how that play off. Obviously, if they did a tire test on the oval, they have to be thinking about it.
Well, I think they are, because if you look at the tickets, it says something about it says the Brickyard, but obviously that's the name of the track, that's the nickname. But they're not
any
they're
race
not really
that happens. Yeah, at Indianapolis is called the Brickyard. When I raced at Indy in the quarter midgets, we didn't even race on the actual 2.5 mile circuit. We raced in the parking lot, and they called it the Battle at the Brickyard because you understand what that means, all right?
Exactly.
You understand, but continue.
So I think they could bring it back. I think they could bring it back. I think with the resurgence of the series, I think they can. So I hope they do. I hope they do.
Yeah. I feel like not just fans, but I feel like drivers, teams, and even people at NASCAR want to see what this car can do on the oval.
Bingo.
At Indianapolis, because it is very much, it is leaning more towards a road racing style car. It's more road course friendly.
It is, with the independent rear suspension. I mean, with all those different parts.
The sequential gearbox, the rack and pinion steering, it is very much more road course friendly. And, lo and behold, we see the next gen car get released. We have a few more road courses added onto the schedule.
Makes sense.
No really big surprise there. Let's see. What else do I have? I think we only have a few more things. Netflix.
Yes.
Netflix. NASCAR's going to Drive to Survive.
I'm very nervous about this because this could make NASCAR have a similar effect that it did with Formula One.
This could either be really good or really bad.
Or it could go the complete opposite direction and
be a waste of money.
We'll never have another NASCAR season ever. No, I'm joking. It won't be that bad. It's going to be a 5-series episode with 45 minutes apiece. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is among the list of executive producers. Ben Kennedy, Tim Clark, Matt Summers alongside there. And it's going to be interesting to see how this is produced because it is going to be Netflix. They have got into the sport a little bit with Ray, before, but I think this is going to be their first time creating something that people want to watch, that is around the personalities, that is around the drivers, that is around everything outside of the racing, because that's what people are going to attach to. And that's one thing that I actually have talked about quite a bit on my social channels is when you hear NASCAR, you have this stereotypical picture in your head, but nobody really knows the drivers that well. Where if you look at Formula One, people are following specific drivers because of the driver, because of things they do off the track, because of things they've said or done in Drive to Survive. That's where this new audience is coming in. I think this is a good opportunity for NASCAR to leverage the production capacity that Netflix has and create personalities that people actually want to engage with and follow outside of what they do for a living, technically. So I think it's a great thing, but it could go south very quick if this is not done the right way. But I have confidence in Netflix that they'll produce something good.
Yeah, and like I said, like we both just kind of said, it could go really good or it could go really bad. It could really go either way. If it goes good and it gets the same reaction that Drive to Survive for Formula One got, that could be a little bit different because when Drive to Survive came out, there became 3 types of Formula One fans. All right, You had people like me. I'm a fan of all forms of racing. I love all forms of motorsports. I just love racing. I've loved it since I was 3. I'm a huge racing fan. I'm at college right now for high performance motorsports to get involved in the offshoot. Now you have people I don't want to say like you, because I feel like you've kind of distanced yourself, but how did you get into Formula One?
I was aware of it and I kept up with it a little bit before Drive to Survive. But this is all I did. I watched one Drive to Survive episode. I noticed the racing, and then I dove into the racing. I didn't dive into the whole watching the whole series, then getting into the sport. I tuned in because I saw the racing that was going on at the track, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, actually. Let me actually dive into this more.
I personally have very strong opinions about Drive to Survive. And because I feel like it does one thing really well and it does one thing really bad. It shows that, Formula One is looked at as, the fancy form of motorsports, all right?
Yep.
These guys are sipping tea with their pinkies up.
Bingo.
It's that. But then you watch Drive to Survive and you see a lot of the guys, even Lewis Hamilton, who is noted to be one of the most respectable and eloquent drivers in the series. You see him, it just shows he's just like me and my buddies when we go out go-karting, or me and my buddies at, the local short track, duking it out. These guys are purebred racers, all right? And I feel like it shows that very well. It shows who they are. They're not just drivers. They are people. They have everyday lives. They do show. However, they show another thing, in my opinion, very, very poorly. All right? And I have a buddy who I went to high school with, and he said that he likes watching Formula One, and I jokingly said I don't want to watch a race that only you only see 2 passes the entire race, and I jokingly say that all the time. I understand that there's a lot more. I admire the technology of Formula One. I love speed. So I admire that. But he said he watches it for the drama. I'm like, there's drama in Drive to Survive. There's no drama in Formula One. They create their own drama. Lando Norris said it himself after last year. They took clips of him out of context.
Yep.
That made it sound like he was insulting Daniel Ricciardo.
Yeah, exactly.
I
think we talked about this before. I don't know if it was maybe me or you and maybe somebody else, but you're exactly right.
Yes.
And that's the thing that I hope they don't do. Or they at least
understand
portray it.
You have to make a show. You have to
make it entertaining, but don't make it authentic to the situation. Don't artificially create this, because when you have Lando Norris coming out and basically saying Facebook, I saw Facebook pop up on my screen, saying Netflix, you did not portray this the right way, and you have a driver, probably one of the most popular, obviously one of the most popular drivers on the grid, say that, your credibility for the people who care will fall off. But the people who don't care, which there's a lot of people who just want to see the drama and want to see the fancy lifestyle and want to see this and that, go ahead, watch it. But that's one thing they do very poorly, is they artificially create the drama, which I don't like, because it's not a real story.
Yeah, in 2021, they didn't have to artificially make the drama. They got drama. They got it. They got a story handed to them on a silver platter, and they completely missed the shot.
Exactly.
They airballed it. Say whatever you want, all right? Yes, a big part of that was Max Verstappen not wanting to be a part of Drive to Survive. But do you blame them?
Yeah.
Look at the way they painted Daniel Ricciardo. Look at the way they made this fake rivalry between Esteban Ocon and Yuki Tsunoda. All right? You know, it doesn't make any sense, you know? So, So like I was saying, there's three types of Formula One fans. You got me, just the normal racing fan. You just love all forms of racing. We got, you know, the Drive to Survive fans. And then you got people like my good friend Wes and my roommate who we saw earlier. They're just Formula One fans.
They are.
They like it for the racing. They respect it, you know, and I do too. You know, I feel like Daniel Ricciardo said it best when he went on a podcast and they asked him about pay drivers. You know, they asked him, "What do you think about pay drivers?" You know, and he said this. He said, this is his words, all right, but it is if you have the balls to get into a Formula One car, you have respect in the community.
Oh, bingo, 100%.
All right,
exactly.
And I do not blame that. Say what you want about Nikita Mazepin, all right? Say what you want about Lance Stroll, Nicholas Latifi, all right? Say what you want about them. If you have the nerve and this, I've always said this, it takes three things to be a race car driver. It takes money, it takes experience, and it takes a teeny tiny bit of crazy.
Oh gosh, yeah, because those cars are
those
cars are upside down airplanes. They've said it.
Yes, you know that's the best way I describe it is like that. You know, and it's the best way I can describe the craziness aspect. If you've ever seen midget racing on asphalt, oh my god, that's neither here. That's besides the point. But yeah, you know, I feel like Netflix, if they make it like Drive to Survive, it'll be good for NASCAR, but it won't be good for the casual fan.
Bingo.
You know, and I feel like what they're gonna see, if it has the same effect that Drive to Survive had, they're gonna be pushing away the casual NASCAR fan. Because we're seeing it right now almost. There was an attempt to boycott NASCAR after what happened with Noah Gragson. Yeah, and you know, it's a weird situation.
It is. And you know, hopefully with the series that's coming out on Netflix, they'll do a good job of painting the picture of an authentic motorsport series, which is NASCAR. Because we've seen you know a series try to come out for NASCAR, totally flopped. But
I watched every episode. I loved it. I loved it. It did flop. It was on the USA Network, but I absolutely loved it.
But with Netflix coming in, I think they can do a really good job. I think they can paint it the right way. I think they know what they can do and what they can. I hope they don't artificially make things, but I think it's going to be a good series. All right, so let's move on to our last subject. It's about Motorsport Games leaving NASCAR. So we talked about this a little bit in the beginning of the episode, where we talked about, you know, them going over to IndyCar. But let's give us your take, Mr. Chad. What's going on here?
So like I said earlier, we've been very much spoiled with NASCAR with iRacing. All right. iRacing has made a beautiful product. They have a very good relationship with NASCAR, and you know, and it's another Dale Earnhardt Jr. thing, you know. Dale Earnhardt Jr. If Dale Earnhardt Jr. says climb up a mountain, people will climb up a mountain.
Bingo.
All right, and so he kind of has that influence on it as well. Now, even when IndyCar left iRacing to go to Motorsports Games, Dale Earnhardt Jr. said, "Why would you do that?" You know, Dale Earnhardt Jr., another reason he's very loved is because he's like us. He's unfiltered. He's unbiased.
He's vocal. He'll say what's on top of his head. He doesn't really care.
Yeah. And he's just like, why are you leaving something that has a fantastic community such as iRacing and going to a company that has a bit of an iffy outlook, or the way people look at it is really iffy, you know?
Yeah.
I bought NASCAR 21 Ignition. I did one race on there, haven't played it since.
There you go. Yeah, right? It just wasn't a good product, and
it wasn't. It was, the mechanics are weird. It's very twitchy. You know, the gas pedal, I mean, it was very sensitive where it shouldn't have been sensitive. It wasn't sensitive where it needed to be sensitive. It was very hard to control, you know, and there's a lot of people who loved it, you know, and those are the people who, you know, I understand that, you know, a lot of people look at the glass half empty. I like to look at the glass half full, you know, but this one, I personally couldn't see an upside to it.
Unless you're into arcade-style games, which that's like the only thing I could say. If you're like a half simulation, half arcade style, but it almost wasn't. It was weird. It was weird. Yeah. That's all I got to say. It was a weird game.
You know, and I feel like we're seeing a bit of that with the F1 games. It's starting to become more of a game rather than a simulation, you know, and then we have iRacing, which is a full-blown simulation, all right? So, yeah, I feel like that's a big thing we see, and I feel like NASCAR, the video games, and I feel like I can say this for the IndyCar games as well, they're kind of in the middle. They don't know. Do you want to make it a simulation for people like you and me, the diehard fans, you know, who want to go in and mess around with the setup, you know, who want to go in and just do laps and laps and laps? Or do they want to lean more towards the Formula One, where for the more casual fan who, you know, they want to play a game?
Exactly.
When I first got iRacing, it was very difficult because I would actually have to find time to be on the game. Because if you're going to be on iRacing, you're going to be on it for a few hours.
Yeah, you got to practice too.
Yeah, you know, but if I only had like 30 minutes to myself and I wanted to do, you know, I'd load up Forza or a NASCAR or a console game. You know, I'd load up a console game and play on that. You know, because you can do like 5-lap races there. Doesn't cost you any money either. I feel like iRacing does take advantage with how much they charge people. I really wish they had a reward system, but I don't run a simulation company, so
they do. For the series, if you run in enough races in a particular series, you get credit.
You can upgrade to another series.
Well, no, you get credit.
You can't even run. You do?
If you run enough weeks in a particular series, like the officials, you get credits.
I stopped racing NASCAR official races a long time ago.
This is not even NASCAR official. This is all official.
Not all official, yeah. I mean, I just stopped racing official.
Officials? Well, that's the only way to do it then. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's right. I didn't know about that, but yeah. With Motorsports Games, I feel like NASCAR finally just threw their hands up. They were like, "Look, you guys aren't producing something good. You released the 2022 expansion pack for NASCAR Heat 5 a year late." All right, and from what I've heard, there are multiple developers working on a NASCAR game. Either they're all working on a prototype that they're each going to present to NASCAR, NASCAR will choose both, or NASCAR said all of y'all work together to make one good game, which is not uncommon. We see that all the time in video games.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I feel like that is very much yes, I feel like that is something that's going to be very interesting. I am nervous because every NASCAR game has either been hit or miss.
Yeah, right? It's either a big success, like we saw with some of the early.
It's
even with all the EA Sports games,
net, or you're on the other side of the court.
100%. You can't even get a shot off because your product just sucks. So I think it's a good thing. Just cut ties. I mean,
fresh eyes, fresh minds going in there.
And probably better tech. I mean, there's probably more companies out there that would love to develop a game like that NASCAR would use and leverage for that casual fan that they can target some of the younger fans, people who have consoles, people who can't afford iRacing, because iRacing is not cheap. And I think that's where it's a good thing that Motorsport Games and NASCAR parted ways.
And I feel like we're seeing a bit of that with the IndyCar game as well. Yes, it's getting pushed back. Yes, a lot of people are frustrated. But who knows? Motorsports game might be looking like, hey, we just got dropped by NASCAR. A lot of people don't like the games we've been producing. They're probably saying, let's take our time with this IndyCar game to make sure it's good, to make sure it's user-friendly. So that's why we're seeing, but then again, from a business standpoint, that's not good at all. But you had a choice, and that might be the direction. I don't know that much about business, so I can't really say anything. But I don't. But
it's a weird business move because IndyCar is much smaller than NASCAR. Now, if they produce a better product, maybe. But business-wise,
a good IndyCar game could very much help the popularity for IndyCar.
It could if the game is done the right way.
Yes.
That's the thing. It's all dependent on the game. If the game sucks, then somebody's going to pick it up once and put it on the shelf, just like you do with Ignition. So
yeah,
it's one of those things. But yeah, I think that's about it. So I think that wraps up episode 3 of the Flag to Flag podcast. If you haven't already followed us on our social media channels, please do that. We are Flag to Flag podcast on Facebook and TikTok. Same thing on YouTube. And on Instagram, we are Flag to Flag _podcast. So we are waving the checkered flag for today's episode. If you want to ask us any questions or have any specific topics you want us to touch on for our next episode next week, please email us at flagtoflag10@gmail.com. But other than that, this is John and Chad signing off. See you next time.
Peace.